Hey friends, tonight we're going to explore the forgotten art of chilling out. In an age where our minds are constantly buzzing, pinged by notifications, and illuminated by the blue glow of screens long after the sun has set, the idea of true quiet can feel like a fantasy. We scroll through feeds designed to keep us agitated, looking for a way to wind down, which is a bit like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. But what if you had no feed to scroll? What if the only glow in your room was the dying embers of a fire, and the only sounds were the breathing of your family and the wind outside? Tonight, we're stepping back into the Middle Ages to discover the strange, simple, and sometimes surprisingly cozy ways people found peace and relaxation. And let's be honest, considering the state of medicine and hygiene, finding a way to relax was probably critical, because you probably wouldn't have survived the anxiety of a simple toothache. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It helps the channel find other people like you who appreciate the quieter corners of history. And while you're at it, feel free to share your location and local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see where everyone is listening from as the world turns. Now turn down the lights, maybe turn on a fan for some gentle noise, and let's begin tonight's journey together. The day is finally, truly done. Your body knows it in a way that goes deeper than thought. It's a knowledge held in the ache of your lower back, the burn in your shoulders, and the rough, calloused skin of your hands. You are standing at the threshold of your small home, a simple wattle and daub structure that smells of damp earth, wood smoke, and something vaguely like boiled cabbage. Outside, the last sliver of the sun bleeds across the horizon, painting the clouds in shades of bruised purple and soft orange. The air grows cool, carrying the scent of rain from clouds you can't yet see. You pull the heavy, ill-fitting wooden door shut, the scrape of wood on the packed earth floor a familiar final sound. A thick wooden bar slides into place, not so much for fear of thieves, what is there to steal, but for a sense of enclosure, of separating the world of your labor from the world of your rest. Your home is one room. In the center, the heart of your small world glows. The hearth. During the day, it was a tool for cooking the thin pottage that was your lunch, for heating the water to wash away the worst of the day's grime. But now it transforms. It is a source of comfort, the only light against the encroaching darkness. You watch the flames dance and sway, casting long, flickering shadows that make the familiar shapes of your home seem strange and alive. The pot hanging over the fire is empty now, scrubbed clean with sand and water. The warmth from the embers pushes back the evening chill, a physical presence that feels like a gentle hand on your face. You move towards it, your bare feet cold on the floor. There is no chair in the modern sense, just a low, three-legged stool you pull closer to the fire. You sit, extending your hands, feeling the heat sink into your skin, chasing away the stiffness in your knuckles. This is your first moment of intentional stillness. The day was a torrent of sound and effort, the rhythmic thud of an axe, the bleating of sheep, the chatter of the village market, the constant grinding demands of survival. Here, in the quiet of your own home, the silence is a thick blanket, or not quite silence. You can hear the soft breathing of your children, already asleep on a pile of straw and old blankets in the corner. You can hear the rustle of the family goat, who sometimes shares the space on colder nights for its own warmth and safety. A life lived so closely with others means true privacy is an alien concept. Historians still argue about the very idea of personal space in a medieval peasant's home, questioning whether the desire for solitude as we know it even existed, or if communal living was so deeply ingrained that being alone was seen as strange or even dangerous. From the distance, a bell begins to toll. It's a slow, steady rhythm. The curfew bell, a sound that to modern ears might seem oppressive, a tool of control. But its origins are far more practical. It is the couvre-feu, the cover fire bell. It is a signal to every household to bank their fires, to cover the glowing embers with ash, to prevent a stray spark from igniting the thatched roof and turning the entire village into an inferno overnight. It's a communal act of safety that doubles as a signal for the day's end. It is permission to rest. You watch the flames for a few more moments, then take a small shovel and begin to carefully push the gray ash over the glowing red heart of the fire, taming its light, preserving its warmth for the morning. The room plunged into a deeper darkness, lit only by a sliver of moonlight filtering through a small shuttered window. The day is now officially over. Your mind, finally freed from its tasks, begins to drift. You don't need light to find your bed. Your feet know the way, a short, careful shuffle from the hearth to the corner of the room. This is the designated sleeping area for you and your partner. The bed itself is a simple linen sack, a giant pillowcase really, stuffed with straw. It lies directly on the floor, though some of your more prosperous neighbors might have a simple wooden frame to lift it from the damp and the drafts. You reach down and pat it, the rustling sound crisp in the quiet room. The straw has a dry, slightly sweet, earthy smell. It's a comforting scent, the smell of the harvest, of the fields where you spent your long day. You know that over time the straw will break down into dust and it will need to be replaced. You also know you aren't the only one sleeping in it. A mattress like this is a paradise for fleas and other tiny creatures, a fact of life so common it's barely worth a thought. Your bedmates, most of whom are not human and none of whom are paying rent, are just another part of the night. Before you lie down, you grab a thick, smooth stick propped in the corner. This is your bed staff. You give the mattress a few firm whacks. It's not an act of anger, but of maintenance. The blows fluff up the compressed straw, making it a fraction softer, and more importantly, they dislodge some of the less welcome inhabitants. It's a nightly ritual, a strange, percussive lullaby for yourself. Then, you use the staff to lift the heavy wool blanket and tuck it in tightly, creating a cozy pocket of air. It's a simple, clever tool for a world without fitted sheets. Finally, you slide in, the rough-spun linen of your tunic scratching against your skin for a moment before you pull the coarse, heavy blanket over you. It's not soft, it's functional. Its job is to trap your body heat, and it does its job well. The initial chill of the fabric gives way to a spreading warmth, a cocoon against the night. You lie on your back, staring up into a darkness so complete it feels like a weight on your eyelids. Your head rests on a smaller sack, this one perhaps filled with softer dried grasses or even feathers if you've been particularly lucky. This is the moment your mind is supposed to go quiet, but it rarely does. The day's events, the worries for tomorrow, will the rain hold off for the planting? Is there enough grain to last until the next market day? Swirl like smoke. But here, another kind of relaxation takes over, one that is completely alien to the modern world, the acceptance of a different kind of sleep. You aren't trying to achieve a solid, uninterrupted 8-hour block. That concept doesn't exist. Instead, you are surrendering to your first sleep. Historians have spent a great deal of time piecing together this lost rhythm of the night, debating the universality of what they call segmented sleep. Evidence from letters, diaries, and even court records suggest that for much of history, humans slept in two distinct phases. You will sleep now for 3 or 4 hours, a deep, heavy sleep born of physical exhaustion. Then, sometime after midnight, you will naturally drift awake. This waking period, known as the watch, wasn't seen as a problem. It wasn't insomnia. It was a useful, quiet, and reflective part of the night. It was a time for prayer, for quiet conversation with your spouse, a time for intimacy, or simply for lying still and thinking. Some people would get up and perform small, quiet tasks, checking on the livestock or adding a piece of wood to the fire. It was a peaceful interlude of consciousness in the middle of the deep, dark night. It was like waking up at 3 a.m. filled with a sense of existential dread. But instead of reaching for your phone to check emails, you might just contemplate the nature of your immortal soul. A slightly different vibe, for sure. Knowing this, you don't fight the swirling thoughts. You don't worry about being awake. You simply let your heavy limbs sink deeper into the rustling straw. You listen to the sounds of the night, the gentle snoring of your father in the other corner, the hoot of an owl from the nearby woods, the distant bleat of a restless sheep. These are the sounds of your world at peace. They are predictable, comforting. There are no sudden sirens, no humming refrigerators, no blinking electronic lights demanding your attention. There is only the deep, profound dark and the slow, rhythmic pulse of a sleeping household. And as your breathing deepens, you let go, slipping into that first, heavy, dreamless slumber, knowing that the night will offer you a quiet island of wakefulness in a few hours, a gift of time just for you, before the second sleep carries you all the way to dawn. Just as predicted, you drift awake. There is no alarm, no jarring noise. It's a gentle surfacing, like a diver rising slowly towards the light. Your eyes open into the same profound darkness from a few hours ago, but your mind is clear, calm, and strangely alert. This is the watch. The house is utterly still, save for the faint, rhythmic sound of breathing that surrounds you. Your body is rested from its first sleep, the deep aches of labor having subsided into a dull, manageable soreness. There is no pressure to fall back asleep. This quiet hour is a gift. You could get up. You could whisper a prayer or quietly check on the embers of the fire. But tonight, you choose to stay put, to simply lie in the cozy warmth of your bed and let your mind wander where it will. And it wanders back, not to the toil of the fields, but to the brief moment of communal comfort you enjoyed just after dusk. It wanders to the alehouse. Earlier in the evening, after the simple meal was done, but before the curfew bell had rung, you'd slipped out for a cup. The memory is warm and vivid in the cold, silent room. You recall pulling on your thickest wool cloak, the damp evening air hitting your face as you stepped outside. The village was dark, the path a muddy track your feet knew by heart. The only guide was the faint sliver of a moon and the single point of light spilling from a doorway down the lane, the ale house. It isn't a building with a sign swinging overhead. The concept of a dedicated pub is still far in the future. This is Marjorie's house. Marjorie is the local alewife, a widow with a knack for brewing. Her sign is a simple one, a long pole, an ale stake, propped by her door with a small bundle of green leaves tied to the end. It's a signal to the whole village. A new batch is ready. The memory of pushing open her door is a full sensory experience. You remember the wave of warmth, a mix of body heat and a roaring fire, a welcome contrast to the night air. The room, her main living space, was crowded and noisy. It smelled of yeast, spilled ale, wet wool, and roasting meat from her own family's dinner. The light was dim, coming from smoky, smelly tallow candles that made everyone look soft-edged and shadowy. You had to squeeze your way through a press of your neighbors, all of them talking, laughing, arguing, or playing games. This was the village's information superhighway, a gossip network that ran on barley and yeast instead of fiber optics. Here you learned whose cow was sick, who was arguing with the priest, and what price the grain merchant was offering at the next market. You can almost taste the ale now, just thinking of it. Marjorie handed it to you in a rough, earthenware cup. It was cloudy, thick, and served at room temperature, which in this case was pleasantly warm from the fire. Historians still debate the true nature of this daily drink. Was it the fabled liquid bread, a low-alcohol, nutrient-rich beverage that was safer than the often questionable water? Or was it a potent brew designed for quick intoxication and escape? The truth, you know from experience, is that it could be both. Marjorie's standard ale was thick and filling, something you could have a cup or two of and still walk home straight. But tonight, she'd tapped a special batch, a Huffcap ale, strong enough to make a man throw his cap in the air. You had 1 cup of that. You remember the malty, slightly sweet flavor and the immediate pleasant warmth that spread through your chest, untying the tight knots of the day's labor. In one corner, 2 men were hunched over a game of 9 men's Morris. The board a simple pattern of squares and lines scratched into a thick wooden plank with pebbles for pieces. Their quiet muttering was a counterpoint to the loud storytelling of a man near the fire, recounting a well-worn tale of a local saint, his voice rising and falling dramatically. You didn't stay long, just long enough to finish your cup, to exchange a few words with a friend, to feel part of something larger than your own family, your own small plot of land. Long enough to feel like a member of a community. The memory of leaving is just as clear. Stepping out of the loud, warm, bright room back into the vast, cold, silent darkness of the village night. The contrast was sharp, but not unpleasant. It made the quiet of the walk home, under the stars, feel peaceful and clean. And now, lying in your bed in that same deep quiet, the memory has done its work. It has filled this waking hour with a feeling of warmth and connection. It was a simple form of relaxation, a brief escape that cost only a penny and a short walk in the dark. Your mind, having savored the pleasant thought, is growing quiet again. The alertness of the watch is fading, replaced by a heavy, gentle pull towards slumber. You shift in the rustling straw, pulling the wool blanket a little tighter. The second sleep is coming for you, a different sleep from the first. A lighter, gentler tide to carry you through the rest of the night. You sink into your second sleep like a stone settling into soft mud. This sleep is different from the first. It's lighter, more active, and it opens the door to dreams. Your mind, now untethered from the day's worries and the quiet reflections of the watch, is free to build worlds of its own. And tonight, it builds a world of warmth and water. In your dream, you are floating. The sensation is one of impossible luxury. You are submerged up to your neck in perfectly warm water, the kind of enveloping heat that loosens every muscle and quiets every thought. Steam rises around you, smelling of herbs, perhaps lavender or chamomile, tossed into the water. The rough linen of your daily tunic is gone, and the feeling of clean water on your bare skin is a forgotten, blissful pleasure. It is a dream of being utterly, completely clean. For most of your life, washing is a practical, brisk affair. A bowl of cold water, a rough cloth, and a quick scrub of the face and hands. In the summer, a plunge into a cold, fast-moving river is as much about cooling off as it is about getting clean. But this dream of a hot, leisurely bath is something else entirely. It is the peak of relaxation, a fantasy for most, but a reality for some. And perhaps your dream is a memory, a visit to the nearby town on a market day. For while the myth persists that people in the Middle Ages were universally filthy, the truth is far more interesting. Most towns of any decent size had a public bathhouse, an institution known as a stew. Stepping into one was like stepping into another world. The air was thick with steam and the sound of splashing water, laughter, and chatter. It wasn't a quiet, private sanctuary. It was a lively, social hub. You'd pay a small fee to an attendant, leave your clothes in a small chamber, and step into the main bathing room. Here, large, circular wooden tubs, like oversized barrels, would be filled with steaming hot water. You would share a tub with friends, neighbors, or complete strangers. It was perfectly normal to see men and women bathing together, though some establishments had separate days or areas. Cleanliness was only part of the point. While you soaked, attendants might offer you a scrub with soap and fragrant oils, but they would also bring you food and drink. Picture it. You're soaking in a hot bath, and a wooden tray comes floating by with roasted chicken and a cup of wine. It's a spa day, a business lunch, and a neighborhood block party, all rolled into one. Just add hot water. Musicians would often play in the corner, the sound of a lute or a flute echoing strangely in the steamy, cavernous room. Business deals were struck, gossip was exchanged, and friendships were forged in the shared vulnerability of the bath. Your modern idea of a private, candlelit bath experience is not this. This is more like a chaotic, happy pool party in a series of giant wooden buckets. For centuries, this was a beloved and common way to relax, to socialize, and to get clean. So why did it end? Why did the public bathhouse fade from European life? This is a point of keen debate among historians. One powerful argument points to disease. As the late Middle Ages wore on, the outbreak of new and terrifying illnesses, particularly the great pox of syphilis, made people terrified of public spaces where strangers gathered in close, unclothed contact. The warm, shared water was a perfect medium for transmission, and the bathhouses, once seen as healthy, became associated with sickness. But another, equally compelling argument points to a shift in morality. The church, which had long tolerated bathing, began to take a harder line. The stews had always carried a reputation for being fronts for prostitution. The word stews itself became a synonym for a brothel district. As religious attitudes hardened, the sight of men and women mingling in such a state of undress was increasingly seen as a source of sin and moral decay. Preachers railed against them, and town councils under pressure began to shut them down. Was it the fear of disease or the fear of God that closed the taps? The answer is likely a complex mix of both. But in your dream, there is no disease and no sin. There is only the pure, simple pleasure of the warm water. The steam clouds your thoughts, the scent of lavender fills your lungs, and the feeling of being clean is a deep and profound comfort. Your dream self floats in this perfect bath, a soothing fantasy that holds you fast in the grip of the second sleep, carrying you effortlessly through the final hours of the dark and quiet night. As your dream of the warm bath fades, it doesn't leave a void. It leaves a lingering feeling of peace, a sense of well-being that settles deep into your bones. You are now in the deepest part of your second sleep, a truly unconscious state where the mind is quiet and the body is dedicated to its own slow, silent repair. But the world of relaxation you inhabit is not just built on physical sensations like warmth and cleanliness. It is also built from sound, from story, and from the magic of a shared performance. Perhaps, in the depths of your sleep, your mind drifts to another memory, another form of profound comfort. You remember a time, maybe a few months ago, when a stranger came to the village, not a merchant or a pilgrim, but a minstrel, a man with tired eyes, dusty clothes, and a strangely shaped wooden instrument slung over his back. In a world where your entire life might be spent within a 10-mile radius, a visitor like this was a major event. After the day's work was done, everyone gathered, pressing close to the largest fire in the village, a sense of anticipation hanging in the air. He didn't pull out a lute or a simple flute. He settled a complex boxy instrument on his lap. It had a handle on one end, a small keyboard on the side, and strings running along its body. This was a hurdy-gurdy. When he began to play, it produced a sound unlike any other. By turning the crank, he made a wooden wheel spin, which rubbed against the strings like a mechanical violin bow, creating a continuous, hypnotic drone. As he played a simple melody on the keys with his other hand, that drone remained constant underneath it, an ancient, reedy sound that seemed to vibrate right through the ground and into your chest. The sound was mesmerizing, a form of medieval ambient music that could quiet even the fussiest baby and still the most anxious mind. Then he began to speak, his voice weaving in and out of the instrument's drone. He told stories. In a world where most of you cannot read, this man was your library, your cinema, and your evening news, all rolled into one. He told a story you all knew, a tale from the great Charlemagne romances, the story of the heroic knight Roland, making his last stand at the pass of Roncevaux. He painted a picture with his words, the glint of sun on 1,000 spears, the fury of the battle, the sorrow of a hero's death. His voice rose to a shout as Roland swung his mighty sword and dropped to a whisper as the knight finally fell. You and your neighbors leaned in, captivated, your own small worries about the harvest or the weather momentarily forgotten, replaced by the grand, epic struggles of kings and heroes. Historians and literary scholars still debate how your medieval ears would have processed this story. Were you listening to it as literal, factual history? Did you believe that the Knight Roland was as real as your own Reeve, that his magic sword truly existed? Or did you understand it as entertainment, a thrilling work of fiction designed to stir the emotions? The likely answer is that the line was so blurry it didn't matter. The story's power wasn't in its factuality, but in its emotional truth. It was a story about loyalty, courage, and sacrifice. It provided a moral framework, a sense of connection to a grand, shared past, and most importantly, a complete and total escape from the mud and toil of your own life. After the heroic tale, the minstrel shifted his tone, playing a lighter tune and telling a funny, bawdy story about a foolish merchant and his clever wife, and the whole village erupted in shared laughter. For a few hours, in the flickering firelight, you were all transported. This was the relaxation of the imagination, the soothing power of being taken out of yourself and placed into a different world. Now, as you lie on your straw pallet, deep in the final, dreamless hours of the night, the echoes of those stories are part of the fabric of your mind. The hypnotic drone of the hurdy-gurdy is the perfect subconscious soundtrack for this profound state of rest. There are no demands on you, no tasks to perform, no worries to parse. You are simply asleep, held safely in the deep, dark quiet, your mind and body recharging, cushioned by the remembered ghosts of ancient songs and half-forgotten tales. The darkness is changing. It is no longer the absolute, ink-black void of the deep night. It has softened at the edges, thinning into a deep, hazy gray. From the woods outside, you hear the first tentative chirp of a single bird, a lonely note that is quickly answered by another. This is the dawn chorus beginning its slow crescendo. The night is over. You surface from sleep slowly, drifting up through the last, fading remnants of dreams. Your body feels heavy, but deeply rested. The profound rest of the second sleep has done its work. The aches in your muscles are gone, replaced by a simple, warm stillness. You lie for a moment in the rustling straw, listening to the world waking up. The air in the room is cold and still, but as your mind comes fully awake, it immediately begins its work. It starts to build the day ahead, laying out the tasks and the worries like tools for a job, the fence that needs mending, the looming clouds that might ruin the hay, the nagging fear of a sick animal. A familiar low-level tension begins to tighten in your chest. Before you rise, before you give in to the day's demands, you perform one last small act of relaxation. You reach beside your head, your fingers searching in the straw of your mattress until they find a small, soft linen pouch tied shut with a piece of twine. You lift it to your face and inhale deeply. The scent is instantly calming, a gentle wave of dry, sweet fragrance. It's the smell of lavender and chamomile flowers, picked last summer and dried in the sun. It is the scent of peace. This is your medicine. In a world without manufactured pills or chemical therapies, your pharmacy is the field, the forest, and the garden. The knowledge of which plants can soothe, which can heal, and which can harm is some of the most valuable wisdom you possess. Much of this lore is preserved and studied behind the stone walls of monasteries, where monks meticulously cultivate herb gardens, copying down ancient texts describing the properties of each leaf and flower. But the knowledge also lives here, in your small home, passed down from your mother, who learned it from hers. You know that chamomile calms an upset stomach and eases the mind, that valerian root can bring on a heavy sleep, and that a poultice of yarrow can staunch bleeding. Your belief in why these plants work is tied to a beautiful and strange idea, a philosophy whispered through generations, the doctrine of signatures. It is the belief that God, in his wisdom, marked his creations with a sign or a signature to indicate their purpose. You look at a plant with a bright, sun-yellow flower like St. John's wort, and you understand that it is meant to bring light and warmth to a troubled or melancholic spirit. A plant with lung-shaped leaves must be for a cough. A walnut, with its wrinkled shell like a tiny skull and its meat shaped like a brain, must be good for ailments of the head. It's nature's own divine instruction manual, a system of elegant simplicity. But does it work? As you lie there, inhaling the scent of the lavender, does the calm you feel come from active chemical compounds in the plant that interact with your nervous system? Or does it come from the power of your own belief? This is a question historians of science still wrestle with. Is medieval herbalism a story of early, effective pharmacology, or is it a testament to the profound power of the placebo effect, amplified by ritual, faith, and tradition? You don't know the answer, and you don't need to. You only know that as you breathe in, the tight knot in your chest loosens. The worries for the day don't vanish, but they seem smaller, more manageable. The ritual itself is a comfort. The act of reaching for this small, fragrant pouch is an act of self-care, a quiet moment of deliberate peace before the noise of the world begins again. Holding that scent in your mind, you finally push the heavy wool blanket aside. The cold air hits your skin, but it's invigorating now, not shocking. You sit up, and the new gray light of dawn filters through the cracks in the wooden shutters, casting stripes across the packed earth floor. The day is waiting. But thanks to this final quiet moment, you feel ready to face it. You slide the heavy wooden bar from the door, the scraping sound loud in the morning quiet. As you pull the door open, the air that greets you is cool, clean, and smells of damp earth and the promise of a new day. You step over the threshold, your bare feet sinking slightly into the soft, dewy ground outside your home. The world is bathed in a soft, pearlescent light. The sun itself is not yet visible, but its arrival has been announced. The eastern sky a breathtaking wash of pale pink, soft orange, and deep violet. You stand there for a moment, simply breathing. This is a private ritual, an unspoken moment of peace. Your gaze drifts across the small collection of houses and settles on the one building that seems as permanent as the hills themselves, the parish church. Its small stone tower is a dark silhouette against the brightening sky. That building is the anchor of your world. Its bell tells you the time to pray, to work, and to rest. Its stone walls hold the memory of every baptism, wedding, and funeral your village has known for generations. It represents a different kind of quiet, a different form of rest, not just for the body, but for the soul. It promises an ultimate relaxation from the toils of this world. Your eyes are drawn to a strange feature on the side of the church wall, a small, sealed stone cell, barely larger than a cupboard, with one tiny, slit-like window facing the village. This is the anchor hold. Inside lives the town's anchoress, a woman who years ago chose to be permanently sealed inside this cell as an act of ultimate devotion. She has a window on the other side that looks directly at the church altar so she can witness the Mass. This tiny window, facing you, is her only connection to the world she left behind. Through it, she receives food and water and offers prayers and spiritual counsel to those who seek her out. It's the ultimate form of working from home. The commute is zero, the wardrobe is simple, and the primary goal is holiness. To you, her life is a source of awe, a strange and extreme path to peace, trading all worldly freedom for a direct, uninterrupted connection with God. Her profound formal faith makes you consider your own. This is a subject of great debate for the scholars of the future. What did the common person in your time truly believe? Was your mind filled with the complex theology and Latin phrases spoken by the priest? Did you understand the fine points of doctrine that men in faraway universities argued over? Or was your faith something more personal, more practical? A blend of the Lord's Prayer, devotion to a local saint who was known to protect livestock, and a collection of older, half-remembered folk beliefs and superstitions. The idea that hanging a certain herb over your door could ward off ill luck, or that a specific prayer said at moonrise was most effective. The truth is, your faith is a tapestry woven from all these threads. It is both the grand, overarching story of the church and the small personal rituals that help you make sense of your own small life. But you are not thinking of theology now. You are not thinking of the anchoress or the priest or the scholars. You are simply standing, watching the sun finally break over the horizon. A brilliant, blinding sliver of gold that sends rays of light shooting across the landscape, turning the dew on the grass into a field of diamonds. You feel the first touch of its warmth on your face. In this moment, there is no worry. There is no plan. There is only the vast, silent beauty of the morning. This is the final and perhaps deepest form of relaxation available to you. A simple, profound sense of presence. A feeling of being a small but essential part of the grand, cyclical turning of the world. The sun will rise, you will work. The sun will set, you will rest. In the simple, unthinking acceptance of this rhythm, there is a deep and abiding peace. You take one last, slow breath of the cool morning air, holding the feeling of calm within you like a preserved ember from the night's fire. The day's labor is about to begin, but you will begin it from a place of rest. Now, let the images of the past begin to soften and fade. The stone church, the rising sun, the smell of damp earth, let them all dissolve into a gentle haze. Your journey through the quiet moments of the Middle Ages is complete. There is nothing more you need to see, nothing more you need to learn. Your only task now is to rest. Feel the weight of your own body, safe and comfortable in your bed. Feel the gentle weight of your blankets. Notice the slow, easy rhythm of your own breathing. Each breath in is calm and quiet. Each breath out is a release, letting go of the day, letting go of all thought. The night is your friend. It asks nothing of you. It is a time for quiet, for healing, and for deep, effortless peace. There is nowhere else you need to be. Nothing you need to do. Just allow yourself to float on the slow, gentle current of your own breath. Let the quiet of the past merge with the quiet of your own room. Let the stillness you've imagined become your own reality. Sink deeper and deeper into comfort, into warmth, into the soft, welcoming darkness of sleep. Hey friends, tonight we're going to get cozy with one of the most overlooked yet essential objects in our lives, the humble pillow. Think about the pillow you're using right now, or the one waiting for you. Is it memory foam, designed by literal rocket scientists? Is it stuffed with down feathers, or maybe shredded latex? Does it have a cooling gel layer for those hot nights? We live in a golden age of pillow technology, a time of unprecedented softness. But the journey to get here was long, slow, and for most of history, shockingly hard. Tonight, we're stripping away the memory foam and the goose down to get to the very beginning, to a time when the main purpose of a pillow was to cradle your head on a block of stone. And let's be real, given that these pillows were often intricately carved and meant to preserve complex hairstyles, you probably wouldn't have survived the sheer anxiety of trying not to mess up your hair while sleeping on a rock. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It's a small, quiet way to support the channel and helps others find our little corner of sleepy history. And I'm always curious to know who I'm talking to, so feel free to share your location and local time in the comments below. Now turn down the lights, maybe turn on a fan for some gentle noise, and let's begin tonight's journey together. The sun has set over the city of Ur. Its heat still radiates upwards from the baked mud brick walls of your home, a silent, pulsing memory of the day's glare. You live in Mesopotamia, a fertile land between two rivers and the cradle of what you call civilization. The sounds of the bustling city, the chatter from the marketplace, the distant bleating of goats, the rumble of cartwheels on packed earth, have faded into a low, distant hum. Night has fallen, and a deep, welcome quiet is settling over your world. Inside your home, the only light comes from a small, flickering oil lamp, its flame casting long, dancing shadows on the plastered walls. It smells of sesame oil and something dusty, the scent of life itself. It is time for bed. Your sleeping area is a simple raised platform covered with woven reed mats. It's not soft, but it's clean, and it lifts you off the floor. But the most important object for your night's rest is waiting for you. It's not a bag of feathers or a cushion of soft wool. It is your pillow, and it is made of baked clay, a cool, smooth, crescent-shaped block of terracotta. You run your hand over its curved surface. It's unyielding, solid. To a modern mind, it looks more like a decorative doorstop or a piece of abstract sculpture than something you'd willingly place your head on for a night's sleep. You carefully lie down on the reed mats, your body finding its familiar position. Then you lift your head and settle the nape of your neck into the cool, curved cradle of the ceramic headrest. The initial contact is jarring, a hard, solid pressure against your skin and bone. There is no give, no softness, no comforting squish. And yet, this is comfort. This is luxury. This is safety. Because the primary purpose of this strange pillow isn't what we would call comfort today. It's about elevation. You live in a world teeming with life, and not all of it is friendly. The floor, even in a well-kept home like yours, is a highway for things that crawl and creep in the night. Scorpions, centipedes, and 1,000 varieties of curious insects go about their business in the darkness. The single most important function of your hard, unforgiving pillow is to lift your head, and by extension, your vulnerable mouth, nose, ears, and hair, away from the nightly parade of creepy crawlies. It is a functional, elegant solution to a problem you don't even consciously think about anymore. It's like having a tiny, personal security guard for your head, one that works for free and never falls asleep. But is that all it is? A glorified bug repellent? Historians and archaeologists still debate the full story of these ancient headrests. While the practical, pest control aspect is widely accepted, the craftsmanship and materials suggest something more. Yours is simple clay, but you've seen others belonging to wealthier citizens, pillows carved from smooth, white alabaster, or dark, imported wood, or even precious ivory. They are often inscribed with symbols, with images of gods, or with protective spells. This suggests they were also status symbols, markers of wealth and taste, and beyond that, they may have held a spiritual significance. Scholars argue whether these headrests were also believed to protect the sleeper's spirit, which was thought to be vulnerable as it wandered outside the body in dreams. Was elevating the head a way to keep it closer to the gods, or to create a safe harbor for the soul to return to? The solid, permanent nature of the pillow, in contrast to the fleeting, temporary nature of sleep and dreams, may have been deeply symbolic. You don't ponder these deep questions. You simply feel the coolness of the ceramic against your neck, a welcome sensation after the day's oppressive heat. You feel the slight, precise pressure that helps to keep your elaborate, oil-treated hairstyle from getting crushed while you sleep, a not insignificant bonus. Your body slowly adjusts to the hardness, your neck muscles learning to relax into the curve. The world is reduced to the coolness on your neck, the scent of the oil lamp, and the profound quiet of a Mesopotamian night. This, for you, is the feeling of winding down. This is the sensation of preparing for a peaceful and, more importantly, uninterrupted night's sleep. Let us now leave the sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia and travel forward in time and southwest in geography, following the arc of civilization. Our journey takes us to the fertile black lands of Egypt, the kingdom of the pharaohs. The air here is different, thick with the scent of lotus flowers blooming on the Nile and the dry, ancient smell of the vast deserts that flank this strip of life. You are an Egyptian noble, a scribe or official of some importance, living during the prosperous New Kingdom. Your home is not a simple mud brick structure, but an elegant villa with painted walls depicting scenes of hunting, feasting, and the eternal gods. The day, filled with the duties of overseeing your estate or the meticulous work of recording temple inventories, is over. The sky outside is a deep, star-dusted indigo. A servant has just finished lighting the fine scented oil lamps that push back the darkness. Your bed is a beautifully crafted wooden frame, strung with woven linen cords to create a supportive, springy base, and topped with a soft mattress filled with reeds or palm fibers. It is a pinnacle of comfort, and yet the most crucial element, the one that guarantees a good night's rest, is still something uncompromisingly hard. Your pillow is a work of art. It is carved from a single, flawless piece of travertine, what you call shiz, a beautiful milky white stone that outsiders call alabaster. It is cool to the touch, polished to a glass-like smoothness over weeks of patient labor. The base is sturdy, but the stem is carved into the shape of two ankhs, the symbol of life itself, supporting the curved neck piece. It is elegant, beautiful, and a powerful statement of your status. But it is also your guardian. Carved into the base, on the side that faces out into the room, is a small, detailed figure of the god Bes. He is a strange-looking deity, a fierce, bearded dwarf with a lion's mane, often shown grimacing and sticking out his tongue. He is not one of the great, aloof state gods who live in the grand temples. Bes is a protector of the home, a guardian of families, and most importantly for tonight, a divine bouncer for your dreams. His fearsome image is designed to ward off any malevolent spirits, demons, or nightmares that might wander in the darkness. He is a celestial gargoyle assigned to your personal well-being, scaring away the bad vibes before they can disturb your slumber. Your headrest is not a passive object. It is an active, magical amulet. You admire it for a moment. This pillow serves you every night, but you know its service will not end when your life does. An identical one, or perhaps this very one, will be placed in your tomb, nestled under the head of your mummified form, ready to serve you for all of eternity in the field of reeds. This is a point that historians of a distant future will puzzle over. Are the headrests found in tombs the same ones people used every day? Or were the most pristine and elaborate examples made purely as funerary objects, created for that final, eternal sleep and never touched by a living head? You don't see a distinction. Life on earth is merely a preparation for the eternal life to come. So, of course, the essential tools for living should be the same as the essential tools for dying. You lie down on your linen-draped bed and carefully position the alabaster crescent under your neck. The coolness of the stone is a relief, and the precise, custom-carved curve fits you perfectly. It aligns your spine. It keeps your meticulously prepared wig from being disturbed, and it elevates your head, which you believe to be the seat of life, consciousness, and identity. It is, in its own way, the original smart pillow. Its features list is just a bit different from the ones that will exist thousands of years from now. It doesn't track your REM cycles or connect to an app, but it does promise to repel demons, comfort your spirit, and ensure the safe return of your K, your life force, after its nightly travels. Closing your eyes, you feel a profound sense of security. It's a feeling that goes beyond the physical. You are not just protected from scorpions and snakes. You are shielded from the unseen world. The solid, cool, unyielding stone beneath your neck is a point of stability in the shifting, uncertain world of sleep. Watched over by the fierce image of Bes, you let your consciousness drift, confident that your head, the precious vessel of your soul, is safe, supported, and sacred, resting peacefully on its beautiful, magical, and very, very hard pillow. The age of god kings and their stone pillows could not last forever. As empires rise and fall, ideas travel on the winds of trade and conquest. A profound shift in thinking is stirring, a new philosophy that places humanity, not distant gods, at the center of the universe. We leave the mystical sands of Egypt and journey across the Great Sea to the rocky, sun-drenched shores of Greece. Here in the bustling city-states, a new kind of comfort is being born, one that has less to do with protecting the soul and everything to do with pleasing the body. You are a citizen of Athens, a man of some means, and tonight you are at a symposium. This is the classical world's version of a dinner party, a cornerstone of social life for the Greek elite. But you are not sitting upright in hard chairs. Instead, you are reclining, as is the custom, on a long, elegant couch called a klein. The room is filled with the low murmur of conversation, the scent of olive oil, roasted meat, and wine mixed with water in a large central crater. And the source of your comfort, the thing that allows you to recline for hours, discussing philosophy or politics, is a revolutionary technology, the soft cushion. Propped behind your back and under your head are several large pillows. They are simple sacks of woven linen, but they are filled with something wonderful. They are filled with wool. When you lean back, the pillow gives way. It yields to the shape of your head, cradling it in a soft, gentle embrace. It is a sensation of pure, uncomplicated pleasure, a world away from the rigid, unbending support of a stone headrest. This is not a tool for protection. It is an instrument of leisure. And here, in this simple object, lies a new and powerful way to display your status. For not all soft pillows are created equal. The stuffing inside your pillow is a direct advertisement of your wealth. A poor farmer, if he has a pillow at all, might stuff a rough sack with straw or dried reeds, lumpy, scratchy, and quick to crumble into dust. You, a respectable citizen, can afford pillows stuffed with clean, carded wool, which is springy, resilient, and wonderfully soft. But you know of others, the truly fabulously wealthy, who go a step further. Their pillows are filled with the finest, softest down feathers from geese, an almost weightless substance that represents the absolute pinnacle of luxury. It was the original brand name good. You didn't need a fancy seal ring when everyone could see and feel that you were wool rich and not merely straw wealthy. Why this dramatic shift from hard to soft? This is a question that fascinates future historians. Does the embrace of the soft pillow signal a fundamental change in how people viewed the world and their own bodies? Some scholars argue that it reflects a growing sense of security. Perhaps you are less afraid of the night and its spiritual dangers than your Mesopotamian or Egyptian ancestors were. With the world feeling a bit more ordered and rational, maybe you no longer feel the need for a magical amulet to guard your head while you sleep. The focus could shift from a fearful protection of the soul to a confident pampering of the body. Others argue it's a reflection of a new emphasis on leisure and decadence, particularly as Greek culture was adopted and amplified by the Romans. For the Romans, who inherited and perfected the art of the pillow, comfort became a public performance. A powerful Roman general or senator would own dozens, even hundreds of pillows, showcasing his wealth and his sophisticated taste for the finer things. The pillow became a symbol not just of rest, but of power, the power to afford a life of ease. You are not thinking of these grand historical shifts. You are simply enjoying the moment. You take a sip of wine and you adjust the wool-stuffed pillow behind your head, feeling it compress and conform to your shape. The softness is a luxury, a small but significant pleasure that makes the evening more enjoyable. It allows your body to relax completely, freeing your mind to focus on the conversation, the music, and the company of your friends. For the first time in our journey, the pillow is not about survival or fear or the afterlife. It's about the simple human pursuit of feeling good right here, right now. As the night wears on, you can feel a gentle drowsiness settling in, and you know that when you finally retire to your bed, a similar soft pillow will be waiting for you there, a promise of a night's sleep defined not by hardness and vigilance, but by a new and wonderful sensation, unconditional comfort. The golden age of Roman comfort, with its heated baths and down-filled cushions, could not last. The vast empire crumbled, and with its fall, Europe entered a period of profound change and upheaval. Trade routes collapsed, cities shrank, and much of the knowledge of classical luxury was lost, like a forgotten dream. The soft pillow, once a symbol of civilization and status, largely vanished from the continent for centuries. Our journey now takes us north, into the damp, chilly climes of early medieval Europe, sometime around the 9th century. You are a farmer, or perhaps a low-ranking soldier, huddled for the night in the great wooden hall of your lord. The air is thick with the smoke from a central fire pit that does a poor job of fighting off the drafts whistling through the timber walls. It smells of wood smoke, unwashed bodies, and wet wool. Your bed is a pile of straw near the wall, shared with several other people for warmth. The concept of a private bedroom is a luxury beyond imagination. And your pillow? It is a short, smooth log of wood. You lay your head down upon it, the hard, unyielding surface a stark contrast to the languid softness we just left behind in Rome. It offers excellent neck support, zero breathability, and a gentle reminder with every turn that life is fleeting and full of splinters. This is not an object of comfort or leisure. It is a tool of grim necessity. Like the stone headrests of ancient Mesopotamia, it serves to elevate your head from the floor, which is often damp, cold, and shared with the dogs that gnaw on bones tossed from the feast. It is purely functional. The softness enjoyed by the Romans is a forgotten memory, an artifact of a lost world. For most people in this era, from the lowest peasant to a reasonably successful warrior, this was the reality. Soft pillows were an extreme rarity, an almost mythical object reserved for the highest echelons of royalty or the senior clergy in wealthy monasteries. For a hardened Saxon or Viking warrior, the idea of resting one's head on a soft cushion was often viewed with contempt. It was seen as effeminate, a sign that a man had gone soft and was no longer fit for the rigors of the shield wall. A true warrior was expected to embrace hardship, and the discipline of sleeping on a hard log was part of that ethos. This utilitarian and sometimes brutal view of the pillow is reflected in a darker, stranger detail from the chronicles of the time. In a world where life was cheap, the pillow, that rare object of comfort, could also become an instrument of death. There are grim accounts in sagas and histories of political rivals or inconvenient heirs being quietly smothered in their sleep with a soft pillow, a silent and effective means of assassination. The very thing that could grant a peaceful sleep could also be used to grant an eternal one. It was a stark reminder that in this world, even the symbols of peace could have a violent edge. So why this great leap backward into hardness? Historians debate the reasons for this rejection of comfort. Was it purely a matter of practicality? With the collapse of the Roman economy, were the materials and means to create soft pillows simply unavailable to all but a tiny few? Did people sleep on logs because they had no other choice? This is certainly a large part of the story. However, another argument suggests it was also a cultural and religious choice. The rise of Christianity in Europe brought with it a new ideology of asceticism. The body and its comforts were often viewed with suspicion as distractions from the salvation of the soul. To mortify the flesh, to deny oneself worldly pleasures like a soft bed, was seen as a virtuous act. For the devout, a hard pillow wasn't a hardship. It was a tool for spiritual focus, a way of reminding oneself that this life was a temporary trial and true rest was only to be found in the next. Was the log a symbol of poverty or a symbol of piety? The answer is likely a complex mix of both. But you, lying on the floor of the great hall, are not thinking of ideology. You are simply trying to get a few hours of rest before the morning horn calls you to your duties. You shift your head on the wooden log, trying to find a position where it doesn't press so hard against your jaw. The hardness is just another fact of a life filled with hard facts. Sleep is not a luxurious escape. It is a brief, necessary ceasefire in the daily battle for survival. And your pillow is not a friend, not a guardian, not a symbol of status. It is just another hard surface in a very hard world. The long, hard night of the Dark Ages eventually began to recede. Slowly, cautiously, flickers of comfort and luxury began to reappear, not for everyone, but for the powerful and the privileged. As trade routes reopened and wealth became more concentrated in the hands of a landed aristocracy, the idea of cultivating a comfortable life began its slow return. The wooden log, a symbol of ascetic piety and rugged survival, was about to be challenged once again. We now find ourselves in a different world. It is the 14th century, and you are a high-ranking noblewoman in a vast, cold stone castle. Life is still far from easy. The halls are drafty, the sanitation is rudimentary, and the politics are treacherous. But within your private chambers, a new world of comfort is being constructed. And at the center of this world is your bed. It is a monumental piece of furniture, a massive four-poster bed carved from heavy oak. It's so tall you need a small stool to get into it. Thick velvet curtains hang on all sides, ready to be drawn shut to create a small, private, insulated room within the room. This is your sanctuary. And within this sanctuary, the pillow has made a triumphant, almost absurd comeback. There isn't just one pillow. There is an entire system, a carefully engineered mountain of textile support. At the very back, against the ornate wooden headboard, are several huge, firm bolsters, cylindrical pillows stuffed with horsehair or wool. Leaning against those are 2 or 3 large, square pillows, and in front of those, 1 or 2 smaller, softer pillows for your head, perhaps even filled with the rare and luxurious down feathers that Roman senators once prized. You climb into bed, and a servant helps you arrange this complex architecture of comfort. You don't lie down. Instead, you recline into a carefully supported, semi-upright position, your back and head propped up at a steep angle. This isn't just a matter of preference. It is a matter of life and death. The medical thinking of your time is dominated by a deep-seated fear of apoplexy, or what a future age would call a stroke. It is widely believed that sleeping flat on one's back is incredibly dangerous. It could allow the body's vital fluids, or humors, to rush to your head, causing a fatal imbalance. The only safe way to sleep is to remain propped up. Going to bed is less about lying down and more about assuming your command position in a textile fortress. Lying flat is for the poor, the foolish, and the recently deceased. This elaborate bed setup, with its mountain of pillows and insulating curtains, is more than just a place for a safe night's sleep. It's also a seat of power. The bedroom is not the entirely private space it will one day become. As a high-born lady, it is perfectly normal for you to receive visitors, your close friends, your priest, even important political messengers, from the comfort of your bed. Forget a fancy throne. The ultimate power move is to casually discuss matters of state while propped against a dozen pillows in your finest nightcap. This raises a question that future historians will debate. What was the primary motivation for these increasingly theatrical beds? Was it a genuine pursuit of personal comfort, a desire for a warm, safe, and medically sound night's sleep in a cold and dangerous world? Or was it primarily about status and display? Was the bed an elaborate stage designed to impress visitors and project an image of untouchable wealth and power, with comfort being a secondary benefit? The massive cost of the fabrics, the ornate carvings, and the sheer volume of pillows suggest that it was, at the very least, a mixture of both. It was a private comfort that was meant to be publicly seen. As your servants draw the heavy velvet curtains, enclosing you in your small, warm fabric room, you feel a sense of profound security. The cold drafts of the castle are gone. The flickering candlelight from your bedside table casts a warm, gentle glow. You are propped securely in your fortress of pillows, safe from the humors that might threaten your head, safe from the spiritual dangers of the night, and wrapped in a cocoon of wealth and status. The pillow is no longer a simple log or a magical amulet. It has become a key component in a complex machine for living, a symbol of the slow, deliberate, and very exclusive return of comfort to a world that had forgotten it for 1,000 years. The world is waking up. The long, slow dawn of the Renaissance and the early modern age is breaking over Europe, bringing with it an explosion of art, science, and a renewed obsession with the aesthetics of daily life. The cautious return of comfort you saw in the medieval castle is about to blossom into a full-blown spectacle of domestic luxury. The wealthy are no longer just content to be comfortable. They want to be comfortable in style. We find ourselves now in the 17th century. You are a member of the burgeoning merchant class or a minor aristocrat in a city like Paris or Amsterdam. Trade has filled your pockets, and your home reflects your newfound status. Your bedroom, in particular, is a testament to your taste and wealth. The massive four-poster bed is still the centerpiece, but it has evolved. The heavy, dark oak has been replaced by lighter, more elegantly carved wood, and the heavy velvet curtains are now fine silk or printed linen. And the pillows are magnificent. They have multiplied. Your bed is now a cloud of them. There are still the firm bolsters for support, but now they are encased in fine white linen. On top of them sits a whole family of pillows of various shapes and sizes, each one a small masterpiece. They are covered in silk and brocade, adorned with delicate embroidery depicting flowers or family crests. Their edges are trimmed with intricate lace, and tassels hang from their corners. Your bed is not just a place to sleep. It is a curated textile exhibition. Some of the smaller pillows are so heavily beaded and decorated that they are essentially useless for actual sleep, making them the ancestor of the modern decorative throw pillow that must be ceremoniously removed every night and piled on a chair. The pillow has become so precious, so much a work of art, that a new anxiety has emerged: how to protect it. Before you get into bed, you perform a crucial ritual. You sit at your vanity and carefully put on your nightcap. It might be a simple linen cap, or a more elaborate one with its own lace trim. This humble piece of headwear is now an essential accessory for a good night's sleep. Its first job is simple: to keep your head warm in the drafty, unheated room. But its second job is arguably more important. It protects your pillows from you. In an age of elaborate hairstyles held in place with waxes, oils, and powders, the nightcap is a vital barrier between your greasy head and the pristine, expensive linen of your pillowcase. It's a nightly battle of hygiene versus high fashion, and the nightcap is the impartial referee. As you finally settle into your magnificent bed, still propped up on several pillows, as the old fears of lying flat die hard, you are struck by a sense of changing times. Your parents might have still received casual visitors in their bedchamber, but you find yourself doing so less and less. The room is beginning to feel different, more personal. This reflects a great debate among future historians. When did the bedroom become a truly private space? Some argue the shift was architectural. As new house designs incorporated hallways and corridors for the first time, people no longer needed to walk through one bedroom to get to another, allowing them to become secluded sanctuaries. Others argue the change was more philosophical, driven by new Enlightenment ideas about individualism, family, and the right to a private life, separate from the public gaze. The bedroom was slowly transforming from a semi-public stage for displaying power into a private retreat for intimacy, reflection, and sleep. The very idea of what a room was for was changing. You don't know that you're part of a grand social transformation. You only know that it feels right to draw the silk curtains, shutting out not just the cold, but the rest of the world. You are enveloped in a sea of soft, beautiful, and very clean pillows. The primary concerns of your distant ancestors, warding off scorpions, demons, or spiritual malaise, have been replaced by new anxieties on keeping the lace trim neat, preventing the silk from staining, and ensuring the embroidery isn't crushed. The pillow has completed its journey from a survival tool to a delicate object of art, a symbol of a world where appearances matter just as much as comfort. The age of silk and lace, of nightcaps and private chambers, was itself a fragile bubble. A new sound is beginning to echo across the world, the sound of steam and steel, of looms and factories. The Industrial Revolution is about to do for the pillow what no king or emperor ever could. It is going to set it free. The story of the pillow now leaves the bedrooms of the elite and enters the homes of ordinary people like you. Thanks to the magic of mass production, textiles that were once worth a king's ransom become affordable. Cotton, once an expensive import, is now woven by the mile in vast, noisy factories. For the first time in history, almost everyone can afford a pillow. Suddenly, the simple comfort of resting your head on something soft is no longer a privilege. It is a common decency. This was wonderful news for the necks and shoulders of the general population, and terrible news for the wooden log industry, which one assumes took a major hit. This new accessibility changes your relationship with the pillow completely. It is no longer a precious art object to be protected, or a sacred amulet, or a hard tool for survival. It becomes a familiar, friendly part of daily life. And this new friendship gives rise to a strange and joyful ritual, the pillow fight. Think of it. The very idea would have been insane to your ancestors. Wielding an Egyptian alabaster headrest as a weapon would be a sacrilegious act of vandalism. Having a pillow fight with a medieval noblewoman's silk and tassel cushions would be a crime against fashion and finance. But now, the pillow is so common, so replaceable, so wonderfully soft and harmless that it can be used for mock combat, a weapon whose only impact is a muffled thump and a cloud of liberated feathers. This transformation from a hard, revered object to a soft, playful one is perhaps the pillow's greatest leap. And that brings us to the present day. To your world, you have inherited the legacy of all these pillows. But a new chapter has been written in the last few decades, driven by science, medicine, and marketing. You now live in the age of the ergonomic pillow. Walk into any bedding store, and you are confronted with a dizzying array of options. There are pillows made from memory foam that contours to your every curve. There are pillows with cooling gel inserts. There are orthopedic pillows shaped like strange waves to support your neck. There are pillows filled with water, with buckwheat hulls, with shredded latex. This has sparked a new debate among scholars of culture and medicine. Has this medicalization of sleep been a genuine health revolution? Are we finally using science to achieve the perfect night's rest that eluded our ancestors? Or is it a clever marketing strategy, one that creates new anxieties about our sleep in order to sell us new products? We have gone from fearing demons in the night to fearing suboptimal spinal alignment. It's just a new kind of bedtime monster, and it can apparently only be defeated by a pillow with a PhD in material science. The quest for the perfect pillow has become another source of modern stress. And so, here you are at the very end of this long, slow journey. You are lying in your bed, your head resting on a pillow that is the culmination of thousands of years of history. It is likely softer than anything a Roman emperor ever experienced. It is more scientifically designed than any medieval physician could have imagined, and it is more personally yours than any ancient headrest ever was. From the hard stone designed to keep the bugs away, to the soft down designed to broadcast wealth, from the log meant to toughen a warrior's spirit, to the embroidered silk meant to be admired from afar, the pillow has been on a remarkable journey. It has been a symbol of survival, of faith, of luxury, of violence, of status, and of art. And now, for you, it is simply a quiet invitation to rest. Now, let the images of the past begin to soften and fade. The factories and the four-poster beds, the stone headrests and the silken cushions, let them all dissolve into a gentle, quiet haze. Your long journey through the history of the humble pillow is complete. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to see. Your only task now is to focus on your own comfort right here in this moment. Feel the unique support of your own pillow beneath your head. Feel its texture, its coolness, its gentle give. Let it be an anchor to the present moment. Feel the weight of your body, secure and at peace in your bed. Notice the slow, easy rhythm of your own breath. Each breath in is calm and quiet. Each breath out is a release, letting go of the day, letting go of all the stories you've heard. The night is a silent, welcoming friend. It asks nothing of you. It is a time for stillness, for deep rest, and for effortless peace. There is nowhere else you need to be. Allow yourself to sink deeper and deeper into the comfort that surrounds you, into the soft, quiet darkness of sleep. Good night.